You are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and this is episode number 279. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Hello, all my dear friends. How are you on this magnificent day? I just got through celebrating another birthday. As you know, I had a birthday last week. I celebrated a lot. I love my birthdays. I was with people I loved. I went places I loved to go. And more than anything, I thought a lot about what I wanted in my new year, which I shared with you in my last podcast, about really being able to feel and know my own value, my own beauty, my own worthiness. And the more I can feel it for myself, the more I want to help you do the same thing. And boy, I can feel it already. It feels so good. That's the beauty of setting intentions on your birthday. It's a beautiful opening in the universe. That's at least the way I look at it. So I guess you're wondering what I was celebrating yesterday, because it was not my birthday, it was last week. Well, guess what? It was my mom's birthday. My mother just turned 91 years old. And my three sisters and my mom, we spent the day celebrating, had so much fun. I feel so blessed, number one, to have all my sisters here and to have my mom here. She's amazing. I'm going to send everybody, I'm going to put some pictures out about my birthday. I'm going to send it in my newsletter. So you got to make sure you open up my next newsletter, because that's where the picture is going to be of me celebrating my birthday with my grandkids and my husband and my sisters and my son, blah, blah, blah. And then also my birthday, my mom's birthday, and more pictures on that. It really is a beautiful time of the year. And listen, I got another celebration coming up next week. It's my anniversary. Big month for celebrations. I love celebrating. And I'm so glad, because celebrating and having fun now, it's not that I don't enjoy food. It's just that it's not the big deal anymore. And I don't have to overeat. I don't have to eat a lot of joy eats in order for me to have a beautiful time. And I've shared this with you a lot, and I'm just pointing it out again, that that's not what made all of this so wonderful, or that I felt like I had to gift myself with foods that I don't normally eat or overeat or any of that. Yes, I had cake. In fact, I think I talked about in my last podcast that on the birthday that I had a couple years ago, I was questioning, should I have cake or should I not? And I thought, I'm going to have a watermelon cake and I'm going to put candles in it for my grandkids. Well, listen, this birthday, we had a lot of cakes. Now, did I eat a lot of cake because I had a lot of cake? No, right? It doesn't really matter. But boy, did I have fun having people singing happy birthday to me over and over again, hearing those sweet grandchildren of mine with those voices that, oh my gosh, maybe I'll even put a video of that out if you can hear them sing to me. They call me Mimi, and I'm telling you, it is the sweetest sound in the world. Best thing on my birthday. It's like I have them sing a lot to me. I love it so much. So what I really want to talk to you about today, because it has nothing to do with this other than I'm celebrating a lot, and I'm having an anniversary next week. I'm going to be married 43 years. And something about how long I've been married and what I think about that, I'm kind of diverting, going back and forth a little bit, but I do want to say something about anniversaries. Is I'm really happy and I'm proud that I've been married to my husband for 43 years. I don't wear it as a badge of honor for those people who either their marriages broke up or whatever. I think that the most important thing about a relationship with somebody is that it grows. And if you can stay in a relationship with somebody and you can grow as a human being, then I think that's a beautiful relationship to be in. That is the kind of marriage that I have, and I'm proud of that. But if I found that I couldn't grow, I probably wouldn't hesitate to not be married. So I have friends that did not stay married or were in a marriage that it wasn't working for them. They didn't feel like they could grow anymore. And I think that's just as much of a badge of honor of knowing when to say goodbye too. So I just want to do a shout out to people who've been married a long time and who've continued to grow, and for people who have not because they have found that they couldn't grow. All of that is being able to know what is best for you, relationships. I'm getting into a lot, but I just wanted to say that because there's so many celebrations going on. And I think what I help people do more than anything is I want you to grow into the person that you want to be. And I remember Michelle Obama wrote a book not too long ago called Becoming. And the most beautiful thing about that title that I love is that what she said when she wasn't the first lady anymore is that she's still becoming. What is she going to do next? Who is she going to become next? And that's how I just think about myself, and I think about life. And I think about you when I'm coaching you, when I'm talking to you, is who do you want to become next? We really are at a time in our life to decide who do we want to become, what do we want to become, and where do we want to become it at. It really is just this beautiful time of life. And I really want you to honor it as I'm talking about all of these celebrations and milestones. I want you to think about it for yourself in terms of your own growth. And so speaking of growth, I do want to talk to you about something a little bit different than this, which is I got a letter from one of my podcast listeners. Her name is Paula. And I thought it was such a great question that I told her I would just answer it on a podcast. So what I'm going to do right now, as I stop talking about all my celebrations, now I'm going to talk about her letter, and I want to answer it for you. And I want to talk about the whole idea of unmanaged thoughts that create urges and how to manage urges with managing thoughts. Like, in other words, thoughts that create urges, you want to see what they are. And once you know what they are, then you can create a thought that will calm down an urge. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want to read the letter that Paula sent me, because it's right up this alley in terms of how I want to respond to it. So this is what Paula said to me. Dear Dr. Deb, thanks so much for your podcast and for sharing your wisdom. I have started this amazing journey with you 2 weeks ago, and I feel like starting a new me. See, I love that. I'm just interjecting right here in her letter. It's what I want all of you. Who are you going to become? What are you going to start? So then she goes on to say, since you are so kind to allow us to ask for some specific help, perhaps you can help me to overcome this thought. I know it's just a thought, and that is that I think very often in my mind that it's just a little something, and it's impossible to affect my waistline. At least that little something, but what she goes on to say is at least that little something is really a little something if I don't need it, and I do it several times each week. So she just said, thank you very much for your generosity. And Paula, which I think is so amazing, is she is actually from Portugal. So when I'm reading her letter, some of it is kind of broken up a little bit. She said, excuse my English, but really it was written beautifully. The point of what she's saying is that she realizes that sometimes in her mind, she says to herself, oh, it's just a little something. It won't hurt. Have you ever thought that to yourself? I know I have. I did a lot. As if I could just have another bite, lick, taste of something, even though I wasn't hungry. Because this is what she says in her letter. Even though she knows that she's not hungry, she still wants a little something, and she does it a few times a week. And what I want to say about that is that as long as you think it's just a little something and it won't hurt, it will create this urge inside of you to eat it. The urge doesn't come from the little something, if it's a cookie or whatever it is. It comes from the thought that it's just a little something and it won't hurt. It won't affect my waistline. But here's the thing that I teach over and over again. If you're not hungry, you need to stop eating. And what I mean to stop eating, if you're not hungry, is that when you're at a +2 and your little brain says, it's just a little something and it won't hurt, you have to be very aware of it. Now, Paula, you are aware that that is a thought. But that thought is very, very poisonous because it creates this feeling inside of you to put it in your mouth. So what we do with thoughts that create urges that seem so innocent, oh, it's just a little something. One of my clients in one of my groups, Rosemarie, who you'll be hearing from really soon because I did an interview with her, but she calls these bites, licks, and tastes, she calls it BLTs. And she says, she puts like on her food journals, no BLTs. Because here's the thing about BLTs, is that they do hurt and they do add up to what you don't want. Because when you take a bite, when you take a lick, when you take a taste, when you're not hungry, you are overeating. You are taking yourself beyond a +2. And all the training that you're doing right now is to stop at a +2. So, what can Paula say to herself when her little brain comes up with this fantastic idea? Oh, it's just a little bit, it won't hurt. Do you know how many of my clients have said that? Do you know how many people I've coached on that thought that creates urges? Yeah, it's unmanaged. I want to teach you how to manage it, Paula. I want everybody that's listening that you can start practicing something new. And this is one of the thoughts that you could use is, if I'm not hungry, I don't need a little of anything. You could think a thought, I'm practicing stopping when I'm full, and I'm full. You start training your brain to think something so different that it starts to calm the urge down. It starts to stop the urge in its track. So when you think a thought like, oh, it's just a little something, and you start to feel the urge, you respond to yourself with, if I'm not hungry, I don't want to eat. Or you can do what Rosemarie does. She just says to herself, no BLTs, Rosemarie. But you start answering these questions and responding to these questions in your brain. And pretty soon what might happen is these old thoughts, because these are old, unmanaged thoughts. They're neural pathways in your brain that are so well worn that you don't realize that you're saying it to yourself. So, for instance, with Paula, I want to really congratulate you that you see the thought now. That is always the first step in awareness, is to see that the only problem is your thought. It's not the cookie. It's not the food. It's not anything. It's just your brain. And you can talk to your brain, because when your brain says, oh, it's just a little something, that's kind of your primal brain kind of doing a lot of chatter. It's really used to it. It doesn't take any effort. But you can use the smart part of your brain, because you're a human being, the prefrontal cortex, and respond. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. I'll feel so much better if I don't do it. A bite is not really going to help. A lick is not going to do anything. I'll feel better if I just walk away. And you start using those thoughts more. You start practicing those thoughts more. And pretty soon, you might notice that they might start to become more automated. So I've talked a lot in my podcast about this urge worksheet that I use with all of my clients. And the urge worksheet basically is to notice when you have a thought that creates an urge, like Paula has a thought like, oh, it's just a little something, it won't hurt. That is the thought that creates an urge. And then on this worksheet, I have what we call a managed thought. That once you know the unmanaged thought, you respond with a managed thought that you can believe just as much. Like, for instance, I have a lot of clients that will say, I'll feel so much better if I don't. Or I have a promise to myself that I'm going to stop when I'm full. Or I want to be a woman who stops eating when she's full. And then all of a sudden, bites, licks, and tastes, or BLTs, thank you, Rosemarie, BLTs are just BLTs. I don't do that anymore, which is another thought I love. I just don't do that anymore. That might be a beautiful thought for you, Paula. When the thought comes up, oh, it's just a little something, it won't hurt. And your thought can be, is I just don't do BLTs anymore. I love that. I want you to really think about that. And I want all of you to realize that urges come from your brain. And all Paula was telling me is that I have a thought that creates an urge that makes me do things I don't want to do. And your brain can handle that because you are a human being. You have a brain, you have a prefrontal cortex that you can tell it and have high order thinking. And managed thoughts are high order thinking. And that's what I want you to do, is to have high order thinking and to use thoughts that give you the results that you want, that calm urges down. Really want you to think about that this week. What can I think? What are the thoughts that you think that create urges? If it's around cookies, or if it's just around a delicious, that you're eating something and you think it's so delicious that you don't stop. I have a lot of clients that use a thought like this. It's so good. Do you know that that's just an unmanaged thought that makes an urge stronger in your body to overeat? That's all it is. And the response to that, the managed thought to that is, just because it's good, if I'm not hungry, I don't want it. Just because it's good doesn't mean I have to eat it. Right? Of course. All right. So you guys have homework this week. Paula, thank you for the question. I hope it helps you. And for all of you, as you're going through this week, maybe you're doing a lot of celebrating like me. And maybe you have a lot of thoughts, like I had 3 cakes. I could have said, I don't know how many times I could have said, I'll just have another bite. Oh, a little bite won't hurt me. A little lick of icing, I'll just put it in my mouth. It won't hurt. It doesn't count. You know what? See, my brain is so well automated now. It doesn't think like that. But, I can remember a time when it did. So if you got a lot of celebrations, this summer is kind of all about getting out and celebrating, I do believe. Use this to see what brings up for you that creates urges. See if you can become aware of your thoughts. And if you can, see if you can manage them. And if you can't, write a letter to me like Paula did, and I'll address it on the podcast. I love that. So I only have one other thing to say to you before I end this podcast, other than I love talking to you. Thank you for listening to me. Sometimes I don't thank you. I know some of you have been listening for so long. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I've been doing it for like 4.5 years consistently. And I keep thinking, what else am I going to talk about? But I keep learning new things and I keep teaching new things. And more than anything, there's nothing more that I want in my life is to help you realize your own value, your own beauty, and your own worth. And you know what? It always starts out with one thing, being very, very kind to yourself. So no matter what else you do, and no matter where else you go this week, please start with being very, very kind to yourself. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change. CHANGE.